Hi guys, this is Max here, back again with hopefully another great political video, and today we're going to again take a look at the 2022 US governor's elections, or at least at the ones that we were not able to take a look at in the previous video. And the first one of today is going to be the great state of Texas, the Lone Star State, the state that has signed a very controversial abortion bill that, as I believe, would actually fall in line not with the current state of the Roe v. Wade decision, but with the overall United States Constitution. Now, should abortions be legal always and everywhere, or should states be able to place restrictions? That is a question that we all need to carefully examine and find a positive answer. However, we may all agree on the fact that the Constitution, as Thomas Jefferson stated in his original vision for America, should be written in its most pure form possible. And therefore, I would tend to support an overturn of Roe v. Wade. I do support overturning that decision. However, we have to take a look at all those candidates who are running in the state of Texas and who of them has the highest likelihood of winning, because that's what this video is all about. Now, in the Republican primary, Greg Abbott is facing some challengers, some well-known challengers, in fact, like Allen West, the former and very good chair of the Texas GOP. He did a good job. He recently got infected with COVID and still opposed vaccine mandates. So that guy is a bit of a bit of an extremist. Also principled, but I mean, you should get vaccinated. And I don't want to jump on board with that anti-vax rhetoric. I made a video about this. Get vaccinated, all right? However, I do think that Greg Abbott is going to win this primary. He has the endorsement of Donald Trump. I mean, that's basically anything he needs, everything he needs, and he's also ahead in the polls, so it doesn't look good for West. Other than that, for the general election, the Democrats are probably going to run Beto O'Rourke, which is a terrible idea because that guy is not only super woke, but also he is a corporatist. And I don't really see how he's going to defeat Greg Abbott. He lost against Ted Cruz in a blue wave year, and that says a lot. Especially since 2022 is not going to be a blue wave year. Now, Beto O'Rourke is fucked. There's no other way of saying this. I believe that Greg Abbott will win this race by a very solid margin. He might even win by as much as 15 points. We'll have to wait and see. Now, up next is the. Let's go with the one right next door, the New Mexico governor's race. Now, some of you might say, New Mexico is a blue state. And I say, yeah, New Mexico is a blue state. But it does have a history of electing Republican governors. For example, just as recently as 2014, Susana Martinez was the Republican governor of that state for 2 consecutive terms. And the incumbent governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham, who's not really facing any primary challengers, like not at all, has been subjugated to a sex scandal. And out of the Republican side, there are two very good candidates. The best one being Mark Ronchetti, who narrowly lost the Senate race against incumbent Senator Lujan. Are they related? Is he related to the incumbent governor? I don't know. Anyway, he lost that Senate race by 6.5%, while Trump lost the state by more than 10. And if Mark Ronchetti runs, a very popular weatherman, meteorologist, he might have a good chance at winning. And if we take a look at hypothetical polling, even though it's from a Republican internal, Michelle Lujan Grisham is behind. So this race might get interestingly competitive. Now, which state do you want to take a look at next, my dear friends? I believe it'd be a good choice if we'd go with Minnesota. Minnesota. Let's go to Minnesota. Now, some of you might ask yourself when we're going to go to the really competitive toss-up races, and that's what we're going to do next. However, for now, let's very quickly go through Minnesota. Tim Walz is the incumbent. He's probably going to get renominated, and the Republicans have a couple of well-known candidates, but none of them are really, really big names. And if we take a look at hypothetical polling down here, we do see that Tim Walz has a relatively comfortable lead. Well, actually, it's just 2%, and it's a Democrat internal poll. So, in a red wave here, this race might be competitive. However, as of right now, I'd say it's tilt Democrat. It will sure be competitive because it's a red wave here, but as of right now, it's tilt for the incumbent Tim Walz. Next one up. Now, we want to go to a really competitive one, and what better would example for that would be New Hampshire. We're not even going to cover. Chris Sununu is running for re-election. He's ridiculously popular. There's no way he's going to lose. But we will go for the state of Wisconsin, where the Republicans will have to challenge Tony Evers or whatever with a nominable candidate. And the only one who has sprung up so far is the former Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Kleefisch. However, because there are clear signs that in Wisconsin, the Driftless area, this area in the southwest of the state, that helped Tony Evers win last time around, this era is trending heavily Republican. And therefore, I have a hard time believing that Tony Evers is going to hold on in a red wave year in a state that has trended so far to the right as Wisconsin has. So, if we take a little look at all of this, I would say that probably if anyone runs, they're going to defeat Tony Evers. Even though, like, polling shows something different, polling in Wisconsin has a very long history of overestimating Democrats. It overestimated Hillary Clinton by more than 5 points. There were even some polls from the New York Times that showed Biden up by 17% in that state. It is totally ridiculous and so not going to happen. Yeah, Tony Evers is going to lose. And that might be a bold prediction because he's ahead in all those polls, but I'm going to tell you he'll lose. Wisconsin is a changing state. Just as much as Georgia's suburbs trended heavily to the left in 2020, Wisconsin's rural areas will trend heavily to the right in 2022. Now, speaking of the state of Georgia, I already covered it in a previous video, but I want to give you a brief summary of what I expect to happen down there. Probably Brian Kemp will win his primary. If he loses, he'll lose against David Perdue, because Perdue is the only candidate whom they could replace Brian Kemp with without, going completely on the MAGA trail. And I think if Kemp wins, he'll narrowly defeat Stacey Abrams. I think the Republicans would still narrowly defeat Stacey Abrams if David Perdue runs, but that would be more difficult because Perdue has already lost the statewide election, and you don't run losing candidates. They tend to lose again. That's what I'm trying to say, because rarely people change their minds on a candidate if they decided themselves specifically against that candidate. Yeah. However, I'd like to point out one thing. There are many right-wing YouTubers such as Red Eagle Politics and Real American who all of a sudden started praising David Perdue after calling him a neocon and a rhino during the Georgia Senate runoffs. So you really see that these people have such a heavy crush on Donald Trump, the person, that they can't even see the bare reality anymore. Now, last but not least, we want to take a little look at a big state. A big state that is a big toss-up. And what better state would there be for that than the great state of... Did you guess it? Of course. It's Pennsylvania. Now, I might have already covered this, but we have a lot of interesting candidates here. Josh Shapiro is the incumbent attorney general, and he'll likely end up getting the nomination. He has all the good endorsements, including Senator Bob Casey Jr., who is basically a legend in Pennsylvania. And for the Republicans, we got, some nice guys like state representatives. I mean, they usually don't do well. Declined, we had a very prominent Republican retreating from the Pennsylvania senatorial race. But seriously, these Republicans don't have a lot of name recognition. And Attorney General Josh Shapiro does. He won by 4% last time. And I seriously believe that if he runs, Shapiro is going to win. I mean, he sure is. For the general election, everyone rates this as a toss-up, because it is. However, there are two things. On the one hand, in a red wave year, Pennsylvania might vote for a Republican simply because it's a very, very purple state. It has almost 50% Republicans, 50% Democrats. Joe Biden only won by 1.2%. However, we have to consider the fact that in 2014, which definitely was a red wave year, a Democrat unseated the incumbent Republican governor in Pennsylvania. So I wouldn't have a hard time saying that Josh Shapiro will hold this governorship for the Democrats. Now, that was a nice video analyzing the governor's races in the states of Texas, New Mexico, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Stay tuned. I'm soon going to drop another video on the US governor's elections. I hope you enjoyed this video. Likes, comments, and subscriptions are greatly appreciated. Likes as well. I wish you could dislike this video, but YouTube got rid of that feature. Please, though, guys, stay tuned. I'm coming back. Check out my video on the removal of the dislike button, and just have a good night before I'll start talking too much. Max out.